I have never once spoken to a parent who said, "Oh, yeah, I totally have perfect life balance." Because parenting is so much harder than we expect and so much more all consuming than we expect. And for most of us, we become like chin deep in this parenting journey, and we are caught completely off guard by how overstimulated and overwhelmed we are as we try to keep up with all of the things. And that leaves us rushing everywhere and being derailed constantly by like our children's mind-boggling behaviors and our children's constantly changing preferences, like what foods they're going to eat today. And it feels like we never know exactly when we're supposed to be holding firm and when we're supposed to be coming in with that supportive hug. It feels like parenting means trying to decide between competing demands and always feeling like we're never quite measuring up to our own expectations for ourselves. Because we're pulled between so many responsibilities all of the time, and we want to do a good job at each of them, but we also we feel like we need to sacrifice ourselves and our dreams and our desires in order to be that loving caregiver that we want to be so badly. And even though we know that we need to tend to our own needs, it feels like when we try to do that, we're just interrupted constantly by someone else's needs. And so we start thinking like, why even bother? Why even try to tend to my own needs or have my own desires until the kids are so much older or until we retire? And that makes me sad. And it makes me even more sad that sometimes we feel shame for even having needs because like we know that these like super wonderful gremlins who are destroying our houses, we know they're a gift. And we feel like we should be cherishing them. We know we should be cherishing them, but we're still feeling that overwhelm and that overstimulation. And so we've got these two sides. The one side saying, "Oh my goodness, I need a break." And the other side saying, not everybody has the privilege of experiencing these kids. And so we feel selfish. We feel like we're failing and we feel like we are the only one. And that makes me crazy because we're not. We're not. This is a universal feeling, my friends, okay? It's just that we don't talk about it. Instead, we try to be perfect and we post pictures of smiling kids and perfect parties and all of the good things that we're doing, not the crying in the bathroom, right? Because we want people to think that we are doing a good job. And I have news for you. You are doing a good job. You are doing an amazing job. And just the idea of caring whether you're doing a good job tells me that you are a wonderful parent and that your kids are so lucky to have somebody who cares as deeply as you do to be their devoted parent. Okay. So feeling like this is normal, feeling like we are out of balance is normal, but there are things that we can do to increase our joy and our sense of peace and our feelings of balance as we juggle all of life's responsibilities. Okay. And so I'm going to share my top 3 life-changing practices that have helped so many parents, including myself, achieve better balance despite the chaos and the busyness that comes from raising a family. All right. Life-changing practice number 1 is to integrate self-care into your day. So I can hear you. I can hear your minds rolling right now. And you're saying to me, I have tried this, but I don't have time for self-care in my day, Christina. Yeah, I know. I know. I was once you. I know that you think that when I say self-care, I mean that you should sign up for a yoga class or book a massage or work out every single day, blah, 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 all the things that you should be doing. Sure, those are great. If you have time to do them, do them. Fantastic. But like you've already said in your head, you don't have time for that, right? But you do have 5 seconds. 5 seconds at work while you're in the bathroom, while you are in meetings, while you are driving to and from all of the things that you're constantly driving to and from, and while you're playing with your kids, or like watching them do their swimming lessons or whatever activity they're doing. 5 seconds. That's all it takes. How great is that? How liberating is that? If you do 5 seconds 5 times a day, you are still under 30 seconds a day. And here's the amazing thing. In just those 25 seconds, you are resetting your nervous system and rewiring your brain to become calmer and to like slow down from that swirl speed pace that it keeps up most of the time. And if you want a bunch of these 5-second drills to soothe your nervous system and start rewiring that brain, drills that you can integrate into your busy workday that take 5 seconds, I've actually detailed them in my burnout escape plan. So this is it's designed for people who are, in that place of burnout where they can't stop, where they're freaking out at all times. It's a whole list of things that you can integrate throughout your day to get started. And you can grab it for free. You can grab it for free at mindbs.ca/escape burnout. All right, life-changing strategy number 2. Do not let your mind BS write your to-do list. Okay. This is a huge one and one that took me years to wrap my head around because each of us has a list of things that we think that we need to do in order to be good and successful and acceptable. So some examples, like we think we need to have a perfectly clean house or a certain size of house. Or maybe we think like our garden needs to look a certain way, or we need to make a certain salary, or our kids need to eat certain things or behave a certain way. And all of those things, trying to keep up with all of those things is a lot of work. But are they true? Is it true? What's going to happen if your house is a mess, or our kids are just human, or if we are just human? Our mind BS wants us to think that it would mean that everyone's going to judge us. They're going to judge us to be not good enough. And then we're going to be ostracized. And then we're going to have failed. We're going to have failed at parenting and life balance. And then everything is going to fall apart around us. And our mind BS wants us to think that we are not lovable if we have normal feelings and if we're not perfect. And it wants us to think that we're not desirable unless our body looks a certain way. And that we're not a valuable member of society unless we prove our worth every single day by being epically awesome at all of the things. I am tired just thinking about it. All of that is total and utter BS. And it comes from our programs that we created as an adolescent. Yes, an adolescent. And 3 of my 4 kids are teenagers right now in high school. And let me tell you, there is a huge reminder for me that high school is not representative of real life. Okay? But we're still running the programs that tell us it is not unsafe or it is not safe unless we are perfect. Just like it was in high school, right? One little screw up and oh my goodness, there goes your entire social life. And so we're still feeling these feelings and the mind BS is still screaming at us that we're going to be judged unless we're flawless. And this is exhausting. So take a look at your to-do list and all of the things that you feel shame about or worry about and ask yourself whether it's true. Are you a bad parent if your house isn't perfectly tidy? Are you? Or does being a good parent actually mean something completely different? So just think for a second, a tough situation at your funeral. You think that your kids will remember fondly how clean you kept the house and how you stayed up an hour later than you wanted to just to make sure that the playroom was spotless. So I want you to think about what if your to-do list looked completely different? Like, what if a task, like an actual task with a checkbox on your to-do list was to connect meaningfully with your child and that felt productive to you? Or what if a task was to find something to fill your own cup that feels good to you? And that was productive because it makes you a better parent, happier parent. What if a task on your to-do list was to very consciously model for your kids what happy balance looks like? so that they're going to emulate that when they have families of their own. I can't think of anything more productive than that. So beware the mind BS, my friends. It permeates everything that you do and it steers you in the wrong direction. So we do not want to let our mind BS create our to-do list. All right, life-changing practice number 3. Treat yourself like you treat your kids. So think about, have you ever consoled a child through like a big emotion or a social challenge, or told them that it's okay that they messed up? Maybe you even explain to them like at length that you're going to love them no matter what, and that real friends are people who accept them for who they are. Maybe you've explained to them at length to follow their heart and do what feels good for them. Like, we have such great advice as parents. We are moving away from the things that we learned as children into this place where we're creating a next generation that taps into themselves and their inner wisdom and their ability to shine their beautiful light all over this world. So high five, amazing parent, for being such a freaking hero to your kids. But what about you? What if you have a big emotion, or you've done something socially awkward, or you aren't sure whether to do what feels right or what you think you should do, which is your mind BS again, by the way, telling you what you should do and how you should handle a big emotion. I mean, hide a big emotion, because God forbid we have an emotion. And most of us are really not all that kind to ourselves. Most of us berate ourselves for not measuring up, or for being perfect, or making mistakes, or letting others treat us poorly. Like, it's such a weird dichotomy where our mind BS tells us to not make waves, but then also like shames us for letting others treat us like that. Oh my goodness. So what if we can take control of that internal dialogue and we can turn it into something that is as supportive and loving as our messages to our kids? What if we consoled ourselves in our challenges and like held our own hands through the darkest times? How would that change your world? And I found that the most effective way to do this is to picture a child in front of you. It can be like a younger version of yourself or anything that you picture, really. There's no wrong way to do this. And that child that in front of you is feeling exactly what you're feeling on the inside right now. What would you do? Would you like wrap them in your arms? Would you listen? Would you let them tell you all about what they're going through and listen empathetically? Would you notice their strength in dealing with this and maybe even tell them that they're doing an amazing job dealing with that? So imagine that interaction, yourself with that imaginary child in front of you, and play it out in your mind. And the great thing is that in doing so, you are giving yourself the loving kindness that you need to heal. So when people say love yourself, these are the practices that they're talking about. And it is so surprising how deeply this affects us. Most of us are so used to saying to ourselves things like, pull yourself together, be strong, smile more, support everyone around you. Don't make waves, don't be a bother. And that means that whatever we're dealing with, it just gets added into this like metaphorical backpack of things that we're carrying around. And it is so freaking heavy after so many years of stuffing everything into it. And so by treating ourselves with kindness and with love, we are able to sort of let some of that go. And oh my God, we have so much more stamina when we just lighten our emotional load a little, so much more energy. It's shocking. We don't even think of emotions as things that carry weight, but let me tell you, it makes a ton of difference. All right, so here's the thing. All of these things are related to boundaries. Boundaries with yourself. They help you to like keep your mind BS in check and give yourself the space that you need to replenish your energy and to start living how you want to live. And I've made it my mission to show busy parents exactly how to do this, because we want to show our kids that that they don't have to sacrifice who they are in order to show that they love someone. And we are going to show them how to do that by showing them by example that we are no longer going to sacrifice who we are and what we care for, and all of the things that make us an individual human, and not just the title of parent, to show them how they can live with balance when they become parents themselves. Because I don't ever want my kids to do that. I never want my kids to sacrifice who they are in order to be something that they think they should be. So why are we doing that? It just doesn't make any sense. If we want them to live happily and authentically, then the best way to give them that gift is to model it for them so that they think it's just normal to integrate these self-care activities into their day, and to trust themselves, and to know exactly what is right for them, and to put their energy into pursuits that are going to lead to joy and fulfillment. So let's do this, parents. Let's show our kids how it's done. Let's put our own energy into things that lead to joy and fulfillment, so we show up joyful and fulfilled for our next generation. So the No-BS Boundary Bootcamp, that's the free training. It's going to show you exactly how to do this. And it's going to show you how to make these crucial, life-changing shifts that are going to lead to better balance for you and more happiness for the whole family. And show your kids what it means to love yourself. This No-BS Boundary Bootcamp is free, and you can sign up at mindbs.ca/bootcamp. So give yourself the gift of balance and peace, and your kids the gift of being raised by a happy parent. So I want to leave you with the idea that you are doing so much better than you think you are, my friend. Keep on keeping on, and I will see you at the boot camp. Have a wonderful day.